The wind howled through the spires of Minas Tirith, a mournful wail that seemed to carry whispers from forgotten ages. I sat alone in the great library, a cavern of knowledge, where shadows clung to walls lined with ancient tomes. A single candle burned on the oaken table before me, its flame trembling, as if afraid to challenge the gloom. My fingers brushed the cracked leather cover of a book I'd unearthed from a forgotten alcove, its edges frayed, its title lost to time. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of old parchment, and something sharper. Fear, perhaps. From the depths of the library, a faint tapping echoed like claws skittering on stone, and I wondered if I was truly alone. I am a scholar of Gondor. My life spent chasing the secrets of Middle-earth. My days are filled with maps and manuscripts, my nights with dreams of heroes and horrors. But tonight, my curiosity had led me to a precipice. This book, whispered about in hushed tones by the archivists, was said to hold the darkest tales of Arda, stories of creatures so vile, so ancient, that even the Eldar dared not speak their names. As I opened the cover, the parchment groaned a sound like a sigh from the grave, and a single line in faded Elvish met my eyes. "Speak not their names, lest they hear." My heart thudded, but the lure of the unknown was stronger than fear. What horrors lurked in the shadows of Middle-earth beyond the reach of Arundel's starlight? What truths lay hidden in these pages, waiting to be uncovered? The book promised a descent into the abyss, a journey through 7 of Middle-earth's most terrifying beings. From the whispered nightmares of Hobbit lore to the primordial evils that predate the world itself. Each page held a new terror, a new challenge to my courage. I imagined the heroes of old Baron Luthien Gandalf facing these creatures, their hearts tested by the same dread that now gripped mine. Could I, a mere scholar, endure what they had? Could you? The candle's flame dipped, casting claw-like shadows on the wall, and I knew there was no turning back. This was no mere chronicle. It was a summons, a call to brave the darkness and confront the unspeakable. The library seemed to shrink, the shelves looming like sentinels. I thought of the tales I'd heard as a child of Frodo's courage, of Aragorn's valor, of Gandalf's wisdom. But Middle-earth is not only a land of heroes, it is a world of shadows where light falters and nightmares take form. The book before me was a key to those shadows, a map to the places where hope is tested and fear reigns. I traced the Elvish warning again, my fingers trembling. To read on was to invite those horrors into my mind, to let their names echo in my soul. Yet I could not resist. The scholar in me hungered for knowledge, the dreamer for adventure, the mortal for meaning. Join me if you dare as I turn these pages and unveil the horrors that dwell in Tolkien's world. Let us walk together into the gloom where nightmares take form and shadows whisper truths too terrible to bear. The tapping grows louder, the air colder, and I begin to read. The first page speaks of a place where light dares not linger, the marshes of Tode and the Murloc Mountains, home to the Mewlips. In the Shire, their name is a curse, a tale told to keep children from wandering too far. The book paints a vivid scene, a land of stagnant pools and twisted reeds, where the sun is a stranger and the air reeks of rot. Mewlips dwell in hidden lairs, reached only through winding tunnels that coil like the roots of a dying tree. Their presence is marked by an eerie stillness, broken by the soft chime of a bell, a hypnotic lure that draws the unwary to their doom. No hobbit has seen a Mewlip and lived, but the tales describe them as gaunt, slimy things, their skin glistening like oil, their eyes glowing like corpse lights in the fog. Their fingers are long and grasping their voices, a sweet, deadly whisper that promises safety but delivers death. The poem, The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, hints at their work, luring travelers into their pools where they vanish without a trace, their screams swallowed by the mire. To the hobbits, Mewlips are the fear of the unknown, the dread of stepping beyond the Shire's warmth into a world that does not care. They are not warriors or sorcerers, but patient predators who thrive on disorientation. Their lairs a trap for the lost and the curious. As I read, I imagined standing at the edge of such a marsh, the bell's chime echoing in my ears, my feet sinking into the mud. What drives these creatures? Hunger, or something older, more primal? The Mewlips are not mere monsters. They are a warning, a whisper of the darkness that waits beyond the familiar. They embody the fear of the rural folk, the terror of the unseen just beyond the hedgerow. Yet there is a strange beauty in their mystery. A reminder that even in Middle-earth's pastoral heart, shadows linger. The page ends, and I pause, my pulse quickening. The next name carries a different kind of dread. Tevildo. Prince of Cats. The ink on the page seemed to writhe as I read of Tevildo, a name that once cast a shadow over Middle-earth's earliest tales. In Tolkien's early drafts before Sauron rose to infamy, Tevildo was the Dark Lord's chief lieutenant, a feline sovereign whose very presence was a blasphemy against the light. His fortress perched on a jagged cliff in the haunted land of Ungoliant was a labyrinth of obsidian halls where the air pulsed with the yowls of his minions. Tevildo's form was a nightmare-made flesh, a cat as large as a warg with fur blacker than a starless night and eyes that burned red with malice. Around his neck gleamed a golden collar, not a mere ornament but a talisman of dark sorcery that bound his feline horde to his will. The book recounts a tale of Beren, the mortal hero who fell into Tevildo's clutches while seeking a Silmaril imprisoned in the Prince of Cats' dungeon. Beren endured torments orchestrated by a mind as cruel as it was cunning. Tevildo did not merely kill, he toyed with his prey, savoring their despair. His purr was a dirge, his claws a promise of agony. The text describes his court as a place of perverse grandeur where mummified remains of his victims hung like trophies, and his feline subjects prowled with eyes that glowed like embers. The walls were etched with runes of power, their glow casting eerie patterns on the stone, and the air was thick with the scent of blood and fear. Beren's escape, aided by Luthien and Huan, was a triumph of courage. But Tevildo's shadow lingered, a testament to his power. What if Tevildo had remained Tolkien's chief antagonist? Sauron's evil was vast, built on rings and armies, but Tevildo's was intimate, personal, a predator's delight in the hunt. He embodies pride and cruelty, a darkness that needs no artifact to dominate. His fortress was not a place of chaos but of order, a twisted reflection of a king's court. To face Tevildo was to face a mind that saw you not as a threat but as prey. The book suggests he was a Maya like Sauron, but one who chose a form that mocked the grace of Ilúvatar's creation. His cats were not mere animals but extensions of his will, their cries a symphony of terror. The text hints at his origins in the discord of Melkor's music, a being born to subvert harmony with chaos. The contrast with the Mewlips is stark. The Mewlips are faceless, their lairs a primal trap. Tevildo is a king reveling in his dominion. The Mewlips haunt the edges of civilization, preying on the lost. Tevildo builds a court of terror demanding worship. The Mewlips' terror is subtle, a whisper in the fog. Tevildo's is overt, a gaze that pierces the soul. Yet both exploit fear, twisting it into a weapon. The Mewlips' bell lures the body. Tevildo's purr ensnares the spirit. The Mewlips are the fear of the unknown, a shadow in the marsh. Tevildo is the fear of being known, of being seen and judged by a mind that delights in your suffering. The Mewlips' lore is rooted in Hobbit tradition, a reflection of their simple agrarian fears. The book suggests they may be remnants of an older world, perhaps tied to the corrupted spirits that lingered after Melkor's first wars. Their lairs are not mere hiding places, but altars to their hunger. The pools lined with bones polished by time. The bell the text notes may be a relic of some forgotten sorcery, its chime a spell that clouds the mind. To the hobbits, the Mewlips are a cautionary tale, a reminder to stay close to home, but to me they are more a glimpse into the primal dread that underlies all of Middle-earth, a fear that no fire or fellowship can fully banish. Tevildo, by contrast, is a figure of myth, his tale preserved in the annals of the elves. His fall when Sauron took his place was not a defeat but a fading, as if his malice was too personal for the grand schemes of later ages. The book wonders if his spirit lingers perhaps in the feral cats that stalk the ruins of Angamaite. The contrast between the two creatures is illuminating. The Mewlips are eternal, unchanging, a constant threat in their obscurity. Tevildo was a moment, a blaze of terror that burned bright and then dimmed. Together they show the spectrum of Middle-earth's horrors, the subtle and the overt, the hidden and the proud. As I trace the words, I imagine Tevildo's eyes watching me from the shadows, his purr rumbling through the library. The Mewlips' bell still echoes in my mind, a distant warning, but Tevildo's presence is closer, more personal. What does it mean to fear a creature like him? Is it his power, or the way he makes you feel small, insignificant? The candle's flame dips, casting claw-like shadows on the wall, and I wonder if I've lingered too long. The Mewlips and Tevildo are but the beginning, and the book promises worse to come. I pause my breath shallow and turn the page. A new name emerges from the gloom. Thuringwethil. The name Thuringwethil, meaning woman of secret shadow, falls from the page like a whispered curse. The book describes her as a vampire, a fallen Maya who served Sauron in the First Age. Her true form was a specter of dread, a giant bat with wings that spanned the night sky, each tipped with iron claws that gleamed like frost. Her eyes pale as moonlight could pierce the heart with fear, and her voice was a sibilant whisper that turned courage to ash. Thuringwethil was no mere beast. She was Sauron's spy and messenger, flitting between his strongholds to weave his web of deceit. The text paints her as a creature of paradox, beautiful in her terror, her wings shimmering with an unearthly glow yet utterly malevolent, her presence a blight on the world. The tale of her cloak is what lingers most. When Luthien and Huan sought to rescue Beren from Sauron's fortress of Tol-in-Gaurhoth, Luthien donned Thuringwethil's bat-winged cloak to disguise herself. The book describes the cloak as a thing of dark enchantment, heavy with the vampire's essence, its folds rippling with a chill that seeped into the bones. To wear it was to touch Thuringwethil's corruption, to feel the pull of her malice. Luthien's courage in using it was a triumph, but the book hints at a cost did the cloak's darkness linger in her heart. Thuringwethil represents betrayal, not just of others, but of one's own soul. Once a being of light, she chose shadow, and her choice haunts the pages of this tome. Her origins are shrouded in mystery. The text suggests she was a Maya like Tevildo, but one who traded her radiance for Sauron's promises. Her vampiric form was a perversion of her former glory, her wings a mockery of the eagles of Manwë. The book describes her flights over Beleri and a shadow that blotted out the stars, her laughter, a sound that drove men to madness. To the elves, she was a symbol of loss, a reminder of how far the mighty could fall. To Sauron, she was a tool, her loyalty ensured by fear rather than devotion. Her role in Tol-in-Gaurhoth was to watch and whisper her presence, a constant threat to those who dared defy her master. The fortress of Tol-in-Gaurhoth looms large in the next passage, and with it the werewolves. Once a shining citadel built by Finrod Felagund, it fell to Sauron and became the Isle of Werewolves, a place of howling despair. The werewolves, led by Draugluin, the first of their kind, were no ordinary beasts. Born of dark sorcery, they were said to house the spirits of fallen Maiar, their eyes glowing with a hunger that transcended flesh. Their fur was matted with blood, their jaws strong enough to crush steel. The book recounts Finrod's tragic end, torn apart by these creatures as he shielded Beren. The werewolves' howls were not mere sounds, but a force shaking the walls of their prison and the hearts of those who heard them. Draugluin's lineage is a mystery. Some say he was a Maya, like Thuringwethil, corrupted by Sauron's will. Others claim he was a beast, elevated by dark magic. His progeny were no less fearsome, their savagery honed to a razor's edge. The werewolves are raw, untamed power, a stark contrast to Thuringwethil's calculated menace. She strikes from the shadows, a whisper of death. They charge from the dark, relentless and unstoppable. The book describes that her lair as a charnel house, its floors slick with blood, its air thick with the stench of decay. To enter Tol-in-Gaurhoth was to face not just death, but annihilation, the werewolves' hunger, a force that left nothing behind. Yet both are bound to Sauron, tools of his dominion. Thuringwethil's subtlety and the werewolves' brutality complement each other like a blade and a bludgeon. The contrast with earlier creatures is illuminating. The Mewlips' terror is primal, Tevildo's is regal. But Thuringwethil and the werewolves are instruments of a greater evil. The Mewlips act on instinct, Tevildo on pride. But Thuringwethil and the werewolves serve a purpose, their horrors orchestrated by Sauron's will. Thuringwethil's betrayal mirrors Tevildo's cruelty, but her fall is more tragic, a reminder of what is lost when light turns to shadow. The werewolves, like the Mewlips, are beasts, but their savagery is disciplined, a weapon wielded by a master. As I read, I feel the weight of their presence, the library's silence growing oppressive. What does it mean to serve such darkness? What does it cost? Thuringwethil's whisper seems to linger in the air, the werewolves' howls echoing in my mind. The candle flickers and I pause, my hand trembling. If these tales stir your heart, share them with others. Let us walk this path together, uncovering the secrets of Middle-earth's shadows. The next name awaits Carcharoth. The next page is stained as if the ink wept as it was written. It speaks of Carcharoth the Red Maw, a werewolf of such terror that even Morgoth, the dark enemy, regarded him with awe, bred in the pits of Angband. Carcharoth was no mere beast, but a colossus larger than any wolf that ever walked Arda. His hide was impervious to steel, his jaws, a furnace of destruction. The book describes his eyes as twin furnaces burning with a madness that reflected Morgoth's own. Carcharoth was not born to serve. He was forged to destroy a living weapon meant to guard Angban's gates. His size was unimaginable, his strength, a force of nature, his intelligence, a dark cunning that made him more than a beast. The tale of Carcharoth peaks in the quest for the Silmaril. When Beren and Luthien stole a Silmaril from Morgoth's crown, Carcharoth was their final trial. In a frenzy, he bit off Beren's hand, swallowing the Silmaril. The jewel's holy light seared his corrupted flesh, driving him into a rampage that scarred Balerian villages. Burned forests withered, and none could stand against him. The book's words are vivid. His howls shook the earth. His claws rent stone asunder. His pain was not just physical but spiritual. The Silmaril's purity clashing with his darkness, a torment that fueled his wrath. Only Huan, the Hound of Valinor, could face him in a battle foretold by prophecy. Both fell their blood mingling on the earth, but Carcharoth's legacy endured, a testament to the cost of greed and the pain of defying the divine. Carcharoth is the embodiment of destruction, a force so overwhelming that even his master could not leash him. He is the culmination of the werewolves' savagery, the ultimate expression of Morgoth's will to break the world. Compared to Thuringwethil, he lacks her subtlety, but his raw power is unmatched. Unlike Tevildo's calculated cruelty or the Mewlips' hidden traps, Carcharoth is a storm, a force that cannot be reasoned with or evaded. His madness born of the Silmaril mirrors. Ungoliant's hunger, a shared theme of corruption through desire. Yet where Ungoliant is eternal, Carcharoth is mortal, his end, a reminder that even the mightiest can fall. The book describes his rampage as a tragedy, a creature driven to ruin by a light he could not bear. As I turn the page, I find a terror less defined, more insidious. The Nameless Things. These creatures dwell in the deepest chasms of Middle-earth, far below the mines of Moria, where even the dwarves dared not tread. The book quotes Gandalf's words from the Two Towers, far, far below the deepest delvings of the dwarves. The world is gnawed by nameless things. Even Sauron knows them not. They are older than he. The words chill me, for they suggest a darkness older than Morgoth, older than time itself. The nameless things have no form, or perhaps they have too many. The text hints at writhing shapes, eyes that glow without light, and a presence that presses against the mind like a weight. They are the chaos that existed before the valor-shaped Arda, the remnants of a void that refuses to be tamed. Unlike Carcharoth's tangible fury, the nameless things are the fear of the unknown, the dread of what lies beyond reason. They do not hunt or scheme. They simply are their existence, a reminder that some corners of the world remain untouched by light or order. The book suggests they are older than the Ainur, perhaps born in the discord of Melkor's rebellion against Iluvatar's music. To the dwarves they were a myth, a reason to fear the deep. To Gandalf they were a reality encountered in his fall with the Balrog. The text imagines their lairs as caverns of impossible geometry, where time bends and the air hums with a soundless scream. Compared to the Mewlips, the nameless things are vaster, more cosmic. Unlike Tevildo, they seek no dominion, only existence. Their terror is not in what they do, but in what they represent, the limits of knowledge, the fragility of order. Carcharoth and the nameless things are opposites yet kin. One is a beast of flesh and fire, the other a specter of formless dread. Together they show the breadth of Middle-earth's darkness, the seen and the unseen, the known and the unknowable. The library's silence feels alive, watching. If you feel the pull of these tales, share them. Let others join our descent into the shadows. The next page awaits, and with it the final terror. Ungoliant. The final page is heavier, as if the weight of the words could crush the world. The name Ungoliant stares back at me, and the candle's flame gutters, plunging the library into near darkness. Ungoliant, the dark spider, is no mere creature. She is a force, a void, given form. The book speaks of her origins with reverence and fear, born from the darkness before Arda. Perhaps a Maya twisted by Melkor's envy, or perhaps something older from realms beyond the Valor's sight. Her true nature is a mystery, but her hunger is certain. A ravenous, all-consuming need that devours light, life, and hope. Ungoliant's form is a blasphemy, a spider vast as a mountain, her legs like spears, her eyes twin voids that swallow all they see. Her webbing is not silk, but shadow, a shroud that chokes the world. The book recounts her greatest act of treachery, aiding Morgoth in the destruction of the two trees of Valinor. Together they plunged Valinor into darkness, and Ungoliant drank the tree's light until they withered. but her hunger was not sated. She turned on Morgoth, seeking the Silmarils, and only his desperate cries summoned Balrogs to drive her away. The text whispers of her fate. Some say she fled to Nandun-Gortheb, spawning horrors like Shelob. Others claim her hunger consumed her and she devoured herself in the end. Ungoliant is the apex of Middle-earth's terrors, not because she serves evil, but because she transcends it. The Mewlips lure Tevildo rules. Thuringwethil deceives the werewolves. Ravage, Carcharoth destroys, and the Nameless Things haunt, but Ungoliant consumes. She is the darkness that existed before the world, the chaos that laughs at order. Her betrayal of Morgoth mirrors Thuringwethil's fall. But where Thuringwethil is a servant, Ungoliant is a rival. Her hunger parallels Carcharoth's madness, but where he is a creation, she is eternal. The book suggests she is the source of all spiders in Middle-earth, her legacy a web that binds the world in fear. To read of Ungoliant is to feel her presence a weight that presses against the soul. She is not just a monster, she is the end of all things, the void that waits beyond the stars. The Mewlips are a whisper, Tevildo a gaze, Thuringwethil a shadow, the werewolves a storm, Carcharoth a blaze, the Nameless Things a mystery. But Ungoliant is the silence that follows. She is the fear that no light can banish, the truth that no hero can deny. The book describes her lair in Nandun-Gortheb as a place of eternal night where the air is thick with despair and the ground pulses with her malice. To face her is to face oblivion, to know that some evils are beyond redemption. As I linger on the page, the library feels smaller, the shadows deeper. What does it mean to face such a creature? What does it cost to know her name? Ungoliant's hunger is not just for light, but for meaning, for the very essence of existence. The candle flares and I slam the book shut. My breath is ragged, my hands trembling. Ungoliant's name echoes in my mind, a warning and a challenge. The tales of Middle-earth are not just stories. They are mirrors reflecting the darkness within us all. If you followed this far, if you felt the chill of these shadows, share them. Let others know the horrors that lurk in Tolkien's world. The next page awaits, but for now I must rest haunted by the spider's gaze. The library is silent now, the tapping gone, the shadows still. The book lies closed before me, but its tales burn in my mind. Mewlips, Tevildo, Thuringwethil, the werewolves, Carcharoth, the Nameless Things, and Ungoliant. Each is a facet of Middle-earth's darkness, a reminder that even in a world of heroes and starlight, there are places where hope falters. Yet as I sit in the flickering light, I realize these horrors are not the end of the story. Middle-earth is a tapestry of light and shadow woven from courage as much as fear. The Mewlips could not dim the hobbit's love for home. Tevildo fell to Baron's defiance. Thuringwethil's cloak served Luthien's purpose. The werewolves could not break Finrod's sacrifice. Carcharoth met his match in Huan. The Nameless Things could not sway Gandalf. And Ungoliant, for all her power, could not consume the Silmarils' light. These creatures are terrifying. Yes, but they are also proof that darkness can be faced, fought, and overcome. They challenge us to find the spark within the courage to stand against the void. I rise the candle steady now, its glow a small but stubborn defiance. The book has changed me not with fear but with wonder. Middle-earth is vast, its mysteries endless, and I am but one scholar among many. These tales are not just mine. They belong to all who dare to dream, to question, to seek. If these shadows have stirred your heart, if you long to explore more of Tolkien's world, join me. Share this journey. Seek out the stories, and let us uncover the secrets that await. The shadows are deep, but the light is deeper still. Will you walk with me into the next tale? The library waits, and so do the stars. The book is closed, but its lessons linger. Middle-earth is a world of balance where every horror has its counterpoint. Every shadow, its light. The Mewlips teach us to cherish home, Tevildo to defy tyranny, Thuringwethil to guard our souls, the werewolves to honor sacrifice, Carcharoth to resist greed, the Nameless Things to embrace the unknown, and Ungoliant to seek meaning in the face of oblivion. I step toward the library's door, the candle in hand, and I know that this is not the end, but a beginning. The tales of Middle-earth are endless, and I will carry them with me as you can carry them with you. Let us share these stories. Let us light the darkness together.